But they told me a story about the biggest thing that happened to them last year in social media. And it had nothing to do with anything they had planned, nothing to do with anything they had invested in, and to some degree, not much to do with technology itself. But I think it speaks volumes about the real potential for this stuff. And it involves a grandmother in Wilton, New Hampshire, who's in the hospital. She's dying of cancer. She's very old. The cancer is very serious. She's in the hospital at Wilton, this little town of Wilton, New Hampshire, getting chemotherapy. And she feels lousy, as you do with chemotherapy. She has no appetite. Anything she tries to eat tastes horrible. And one day on a Tuesday, she gets this tremendous craving for clam chowder from Panera Bread, which everybody's very excited because she hasn't eaten for days and they're trying to get her something. I'd give anything for a bowl of clam chowder. Well, in the room with her is her 22-year-old grandson, Brandon. So Brandon hears this. He's so excited his grandmother finally wants to eat. So he says, that's so excited you want clam chowder. Then he realizes, it's Tuesday. I'm from New England too. We carry around the legacy of Catholicism. So Panera only sells clam chowder on Friday, from the days of, Meatless Friday, or whatever the case may be. He says, shoot, they don't make clam chowder on Tuesdays. It's not on the menu. But he's a 20-year-old kid, doesn't know better. He calls the local Panera in Wilton, gets this woman, Sue Fournier, the manager, on the phone, and explains, Sue, I'm in the hospital with my grandmother. Any chance you could brew her a batch of clam chowder special? And Sue does what any of us would do if it was a neighbor or a friend or member. Of course, give me an hour. Got to make sure we have all the ingredients. Give me an hour, stop by, and I'll take care of it. So Brandon goes by the Panera Bread outlet an hour from then. And first of all, they've made enough clam chowder to feed the entire hospital. My mother was a nurse for 30 years. There's nothing but nurses. Nurses see free food, their heads explode. So that was going to be a big day at the whole hospital. They'd also put together a big box of cookies and put a ribbon on it, and then she'd had everybody at the store sign a get well card to this woman. So it was kind of more almost like this, enormous gift basket. So he goes back to the hospital with this huge, big thing, sets it down, and it was just a great, great day in an otherwise very difficult period of time with his grandmother. Now, if this were 10 years ago, that would be the beginning and the end of the story. This kid's 22. What's the first thing he does once he's, taken the napkin and dabbed the clam chowder from his chin? He goes to the Panera Facebook page and just tells this story. My name is Brandon, I go to the hospital, this lady Sue, just tells the story in a very matter-of-fact way on the Panera Bread Facebook page. Within 2 weeks, 814,000 people had hit the like button. On the 814,000, 33,000 people had taken the time to put a comment of their own on the Panera page. Many was, good luck, Granny, we're rooting for you, way to go, Sue. In general, just an outpouring of kind of affection and affiliation for what this one employee did, how it reflected on the Panera brand. And they were saying this is like a meteor strike, the single biggest thing that had happened to Panera online ever. And it was nothing they had planned for, nothing they could have predicted. It was just the behavior of one person in the company amplified and magnified by social media for one of their customers. So Andrew says I blogged for HBR. I told the story on my HBR blog. Oh my God, the outpouring, it got more reaction and attention than anything I've ever written in my life. It kind of melted down the HBR service. And I was very excited. We all like to have nice comments, but it's also a little depressing. I mean, what have we done to our companies? What have we done in terms of the way we conduct ourselves at our people, where this simple little act of kindness is considered the greatest gesture of humanity the world has ever seen? I mean, have we really drummed out human emotion and basic engagement, small level engagement, so much of our, and what it really reinforced to me is that in a world that is being reshaped by technology, what people are really hungry for today, besides clam chowder, what people are really hungry for today is a genuine sense of humanity. And so anything you can do with all these social media tools to allow them to amplify and extend and engage all the great little things that your people are hopefully doing on a regular basis. And again, you don't get sort of too heavy-handed with it, but you just make the tools available to your people and to your customers so that you can communicate to the rest of the world the small gestures, the little sacrifices, the modest messages that people are doing and sending every day that make your company not just intensely competitive, but intensely human. And that to me is what people are eager to do business today with organizations that feel genuinely human. And how better to humanize your company than to give a stage to the human beings that all of you work so hard to recruit, retain, and promote. Let's